So today we are going to talk about doing business with Coral Club and our possible partnership. I would like to say right away that if you have never had experience in the MLM industry before, it is still better to start with the basics, how this business actually works, what are its advantages, how this industry makes more than $200 billion in annual turnover, why a huge number of companies choose the recommendation model as a basis for promoting their products and services. What are the main advantages, let's say, for people who have never been in this business before? That you can start from scratch and do this alongside your other work without abandoning your other commitments and without fully committing yourself to this endeavor. People start off earning some extra income. Gradually, they make it their primary source of income. And for entrepreneurs, it's crucial to understand why this business gains an advantage at the outset. You require significantly fewer investments and resources to launch this business. And here's the key point: scalability. Most entrepreneurs encounter the challenge where their business is already operational, but they lack the resources to expand it into new regions or countries. So that's why MLM business excels both in terms of a job and operating a traditional businesses in all these aspects. I recommend that you delve into the previous videos for a better understanding. Today, we'll be discussing how Coral Club differs from other companies in the MLM industry. Let's go through all the points one at a time. Let's start with the fact that there is no such thing as a perfect company. A company is chosen for its goals and objectives, but let's assume the goal is to make quick money without getting too involved with the product. This is where leadership-focused companies are ideal, as they are essentially tailored to this approach. These companies offer quick and usually short-term gains. Money is constantly being sold, and there's a great deal of motivation for a glamorous and successful life, with products taking a back seat. On the other hand, the next category of companies is sales-oriented. Everything in these types of companies is designed to make salespeople comfortable. That is, you learned how to sell, you make money because of it, and you look for salespeople who do the same. Let's not talk about the disadvantages of the fact that a huge number of people have never learned to sell and will never learn to sell. So the pool of people we can work with in such companies is very limited, but nevertheless there are people who want and know how to do it. And there is a third type of company, which is the consumer company. These are companies that have been established to foster a strong sense of loyalty and satisfaction for customers, and they constitute the bulk of the sales volume. Distinguishing one company from another is quite simple. Ask them what they pay for. If a company pays for recruiting, i.e. there is a startup fee, startup packages, it is a leadership company. Companies which pay for sales are companies with a sales strategy. In consumer-focused companies, there's no selling of money, no payment for recruitment, and no compensation for sales. I would label this as social marketing or referral marketing. In this model, any customer, while freely acquiring a discount, utilizes the company's infrastructure, website, or store to enjoy the product. Similarly, they can recommend the product if they find it appealing. At very good, let's say, terms. Anyone who starts thinking about changing companies has likely encountered issues in one of three sectors, which I refer to as business efficiency. Let's discuss this topic a bit. Business efficiency is determined by three factors. The first is dynamics, how quickly turnover is built, created, and how it develops further. Number two is stability. There is such a concept as cumulative turnover, that is, you do not just sell more and more every month, but instead you have your team, which you built in the first few months. It stays with you, consumers stay with you, and you build up new turnover. I call that business stability. And the third point is how much effort you put in to accomplish the first and second factor. How many meetings do you need to hold? What's your conversion rate for attracting a new customer? Are you dealing with a complex product or a simple one? The second, how much effort you need to put in to attract and retain a distributor. And now the conclusion of this whole story is, when a person makes a decision to leave a company or considers a new offer, the problem is probably going to be one of these factors. Either there's no momentum, the business has come to a halt and stopped growing, or there's a lack of stability. There might be momentum, but it's constantly fluctuating like a roller coaster. Or the third, it takes a huge effort to hold it all together, and you simply burn out and don't have enough strength to keep moving forward. And in order to consider all three of these factors, we need to look at the business proposal in a holistic way. And for me, it's like, let's say, a table that stands on 4 legs, and there are 4 factors that you have to evaluate when choosing a company. It's the company itself, the product, the compensation plan, and the support system. And the first thing we're going to start talking about is the company itself. But in order to identify the most important benefits, we're going to go back in history a little bit. Let's see how some of the billion-dollar companies in the MLM industry earned their first billion. What do we see here? Well, first there's the phase, the point when the company is created, then the pre-launch period, when the company is getting ready to launch. This phase can last, as we see, from a few years up to 20 years or 70 years. After that point, there's the launch point, and then a period called grow, exponential growth, when the company enters its main strategic markets. This is where these, let's say, the brightest success stories are created, on the basis of which expansion into new regions and countries is possible. And after that, as a rule, there comes the stage of payment, when the company gets a foothold in the market and exponential growth practically ends. What conclusions can be drawn here? The first is that not all companies become billion-dollar companies. Moreover, within the first 3 years, 50% of companies will simply leave the market for various reasons. 95% of companies will not pass the 12-year mark. That is, people who are looking for brand new companies and to be first in, they are taking a huge risk. That company will likely cease to exist in a few years, and those people will have to start all over again. The reasons for this are beside the point. There are many reasons. Starting from the fact that the company was not originally created for a large-scale business, for passive income, but simply the founders, the people who created the company, wanted to make money. Or maybe they didn't know how to manage the company and made wrong strategic decisions. On the other hand, coming into a company that's already a billion-dollar company, that's already gone through its exponential growth period. On the one hand, you get a huge number of tools. It's a proven company, no question about it. But the growth potential, of course, it's going to be much, much smaller. Now let's talk about Coral Club. Founded in 1998 in Toronto, Canada, the company's president has a background as a professional networker. Why is this so crucial? Because each of us who, let's say, had experience in the MLM industry before, has encountered various issues, either related to the product, the compensation plan, or the relationship system. We often found ourselves wondering, how can it be that the company doesn't address these aspects? After all, it benefits us personally as well as the company overall. In our case, Leonid Lapp, the president, experienced all of this firsthand and saw all the pitfalls and problems as he grew and developed as a networker. His idea was to create a company in which he himself would like to be a distributor. And in fact, he succeeded 100%. The second person is Eric McGrobian, the CEO of this company. This is a man who has tremendous skills in crisis management. And here is the term that is used in the MLM industry, proven system. That is a company that is time-tested and 100% reliable. Indeed, we are grateful to this man who serves as the CEO of the company. Next, the following important points. 13 manufacturing countries, such as the United States, Germany, France, South Korea, Canada, Taiwan, and others. Countries that are reputable in absolutely every country in the world, there is no question about that. And shipping to 127 countries. What does this give you and me? International business opportunities. That is, right now, wherever you are, you can issue a discount to a person who lives in another country, let's say, and he orders products through the company's infrastructure. The company sends him the product, handles all the subsequent payments, and manages all the record keeping, which typically demands the most effort and resources in a linear business model. At this stage, we have the opportunity to build an international business. Moreover, we already have official representative offices in 40 countries. That means a paid-for facility, a team, and a warehouse. When an individual orders a product in that country, they receive it within a day or two. To summarize regarding international presence, the company is only now entering several strategic markets. These include the European market, the United States market, and the Asian market. As of the time of the recording of this video, the company is getting certified in South Korea and Turkey, among other places. You and I have the opportunity to enter these markets, find individuals there who are willing to seriously engage in the business, and together with them, achieve substantial results. And finally, what I'd like to conclude our discussion with is the topic of our journey and how we are progressing as a company. So let's summarize everything that we have just talked about. That is Coral Club. It was founded in 1998, and over the course of 20 years, the company has been operating exclusively with a consumer-focused strategy, meaning a focus on customers during this pre-launch phase. We're already in the pre-launch phase, and it's nearing its end, something we can tell based on the number of new executives we have. We can observe the figures on this chart, 15, 30, 45. These are the top ranks within our company. The chart represents the number of people that reaches the executive rank throughout the years. For instance, in the year 2016, let's take this number, there were 15 executives, whereas in the year 2022, there were 172. You can see the tremendous momentum that is currently underway, and that's one of the key arguments for those who are considering our company. Because no matter how great the company is, the product, the compensation plan, the leadership, if the company is not growing, if it doesn't have the energy to grow, it's going to be very, very hard to create it on your own. And how much easier it is when you come to a company that has all of that, and you just join that company and continue to grow with it. So, on the one hand, we have a history, a past, a reputation, values, and proven results. And on the other hand, we have huge potential for growth. Coming to the right place at the right time is exactly what Coral Club is all about. And the result? You can now see my business in figures and how my turnover has been developing. The left marking represents the turnover in dollars per month. I entered this business in 2006. After a long preparation period that included military service, but I literally had no success. The first substantial outcome came in 2011 when I achieved the executive rank that we were talking about. My income went up. It had doubled somewhere before that stage. Over the course of, you see, the next stage, over 4 years, my business was stable. And somewhere around 2016, the company started to change its strategy. I started to change my strategy, and that all led to my business at that stage growing tenfold to what you're seeing here right now. And I think this is just the beginning. I mean, this exponential growth, even within my team, it's all just begun. And the immediate goal that we have is to grow tenfold. That's actually why we're recording this video now. We're looking for people with whom we can scale this business. We don't have a sales goal. We don't have a recruiting goal. We don't get paid for selling, for recruiting, for signing on new members. It's very important that you and I are aligned in values and goals, and only then are we ready to invest time and develop together. What is important to understand first? There are essentially two product areas in the MLM industry. Products that are easy for distributors, that's when it's easy to sell, and products for consumers that are focused on providing them results. What's the difference? A product that is easy to sell, shampoos, detergents, skincare products, and so on. It is much harder to see results with these products, and therefore it often happens that you spend time selling the product this month, but you have to do the same thing again next month. Consumer-focused products are products through which an individual achieves results in a relatively short period. They are satisfied, return to us, become loyal customers, and recommend our product to others. Our entire product lineup falls into this segment, products for consumers. But why Coral Club? What makes it stand out from the huge number of companies that are on the market today? Let me show you. The main tool in the creation of turnover. Moreover, in 2 minutes I will tell what I have told and usually tell potential customers up front. Your task is to assess how logical and easily comprehensible this is, both from a customer's perspective and in terms of how duplicable it is for you as distributors. Your goal is to learn how to promote the product effectively. Let's discuss this further. Our body is basically like an aquarium, which consists of 70% water, and in which fish swim. Well, in fact, these fish are our organs, and the health of these fish, of these organs, will depend directly on 3 factors: the quality of the water in our bodies, the cleanliness of the environment in which the fish swim, and of course, our diet. A lot of people have recently come on board. from companies that deal with such simple distributor products. Shampoos, detergent conditioners, home care products, and so on. And their first objection arose during our first meetings with them. Alexander, they say, it's hard for us to work with health products because you have to treat health problems. This is a complicated product. I might find it difficult to sell. I'm used to handing over a catalog. Someone buys something and that's it. My friends, I agree. That's how some companies work. But in our case, the reason we've gotten away from all that is because we're not in the business of providing treatment. We don't need to tailor a program for each person every time and inquire about their health problems, issues, and so forth. We focus on prevention. Our goal is to nourish the body, and Coral Club is the #1 company in the world within the water industry. We have products for altering the taste and quality of water, and we offer various packages that we recommend starting with. The first step is to hydrate. That's one pack. The second step is to cleanse. That involves other packs. The third step is to nourish. That's a different pack. In other words, imagine whatever problem a person might come with to you. You'll be talking about the concept of hydrating, cleansing, or nourishing. I want to lose weight. Great. Hydrate, cleanse, nourish. I want to boost my immune system. I want to look better. I want to solve my health issues. Hydrate, cleanse, nourish. Imagine how easy that is. So it's very easy for the customer. It's easy to duplicate for all the distributors. And most importantly, this product gives visible results. When people start getting results, they come to you, they say thank you, they start recommending you to others. And your business can grow and scale not only because of distributors, partners, and leaders, but also because of customers. Now we're going to talk more directly about qualifications and the compensation plan. You'll see that we have a rank called Consumer Director. A person who is not even in business, he can make money here by recommending these products. Next, what I'd like to demonstrate to you regarding the target audience is essentially the culmination of our product discussion. We're going to take the audience that you and I have around us right now and divide it into men and women. Men and women under the age of 15 and under 50. And our objective here is to understand which target audience will be relevant for each specific product. Let's take cosmetics. Mostly used by women of a certain age, and also men, but to a much lesser extent. And within cosmetics, there is, as you and I said, huge competition. When you join the company and engage with this product, you essentially stake a claim on one of these segments. Baby food is located right here. Computer programs, technologies, but these are for a specific group of people who have babies or follow technology trends. And now, I have a question for you. Who needs health and who is the potential customer, let's say, for clean water, the right water? It's children, it's women, it's men, it's everyone, including the elderly. That is, we have 100% target audience that we can target and count on. Next point, price level in the industry. This is such an important topic because when we come to, let's put it this way, most of the meetings I have with people who have experience in the MLM industry, they tell me, Alexander, show me what the price range is. Why is this so important? Because if a person is used to working, let's say, in the low-cost product category, well, the products cost, let's say, $5 or $10. What happens? Yeah, on the one hand, you're able to make a huge number of sales, but as I always highlight, imagine how much you need to sell. $5 worth of lipstick to create a turnover of $10,000. How many customers, how many contacts you need to make, and of course, don't forget you have to retain them all. Working only with expensive products involves a certain difficulty because, well, first of all, it limits the pool of people with whom we can work with. And not everyone has people in their circle who can afford expensive products. Although yes, it might be quicker to create turnover on these products. And there are products in the average cost range of $10 to $100, and 95% of Coral's products are in that range. Although we have products that cost around $10, and we have, let's say, premium products such as collagen, hyaluronic acid, product based on hyaluronic acid, products that are, well, so premium that naturally they cost more than $100. So what do we get as a result? We get a product that is very trendy and popular, but on the other hand, it is simple and understandable for both customers and distributors, and within a price range that can be afforded by absolutely anyone. And if we now contemplate, for instance, at the time of recording this video in the year 2023, let's assume 5 to 10 years down the line, will the relevance health be lost? Will people think less about it? My friends, of course not. The topic of hydration is only growing. The topic of health will only grow in importance and relevance, and more people will be talking about it. And Coral Club will enter this niche as the #1 company in the health industry. If you have any questions, and of course you should, your task is to contact the people who sent you this video, and they will give you a more detailed tour of all the products that our company offers. Now let's talk about compensation plans. Depending on how the percentages are distributed within the network, this will determine the type of compensation plan and the strategy of the compensation plan. That is, who is going to get more. When we talk about types of compensation plans, there are 4 main ones: stair-step, breakaway, matrix, binary, and unilevel, along with all their combinations. Now, what I'd like to show you is how the strategy of compensation plans evolves based on the compensation approach. First, leading companies. Companies with a very significant money cult, where they sell, as we discussed at the beginning, starter packages, fees, and more. Usually these are binaries and matrices. These companies are perfectly suited for launching campaigns, for achieving substantial checks. But usually all these companies either change their marketing plan to continue existing further, or they simply shut down and initiate a company relaunch. The life cycle is on average from 3 to 7 years, and I believe you are quite familiar with such companies. Another type of company is sales-oriented. In this type of company, the focus is on sales. The majority of the funds from the compensation plan, let's say around 45%, are allocated to the network. Of this, about 35 or even 40% is given to individuals in the beginning for direct or retail sales, returns, and the same discounts. People can earn a significant amount from direct sales, while only a minimum percentage remains for the network. This is why building depth and developing leaders directly is not advantageous. Coral Club's compensation plan belongs to the group of balanced marketing plans, where we take into account the main points of support. It's like a table that stands on 4 legs, where there are consumers, junior distributors, mid-level distributors, and respectively, top leaders. Let's talk about each of these stages separately. To begin with, Coral Club has a compensation plan that is called stair-step or breakaway. When a person well, let's put it this way. When someone decides to start using the product or engage with it as a business opportunity, their entry process remains the same. They get a discount for products without any obligations or upfront payments. Their first purchase is already at a discounted price, making them a full-fledged participant and partner of the company. Having covered that aspect, let's move on to the second point. Let's draw an analogy with how the majority of companies with a compensation plan, which is called stair-step or breakaway. If we take 80% of the industry turnover right now, so the bulk of them will be using a stair-step or breakaway compensation plan. It's considered the most stable, the most proven, and the most organically correct compensation plan, where there are consumers, distributors, and leaders, but there are certain characteristics. What are they? As a rule, compensation plans typically take on the following structure. There are these tiers: 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. At the top level, there's the first leadership qualification, which might be called Director, Platinum, or any other title. The specific title isn't crucial. Let's call it DT for now. So this is the highest tier, and to reach it, a turnover of either 3,500 points or 10,000 points is required. What's notable here? We get percentages minus the level a person is at, i.e. a 15%er gets 3% from a 12%er, i.e. the closer a person is to you, the less percent you get from him. And there's another noteworthy aspect. When someone catches up to you in terms of qualification and you fail to create a gap, you won't receive anything from them. So where does it all lead to? There's a long ladder. It tends to limit the number of people who are able to reach this last step. Walking up this ladder usually takes from several months, and sometimes this goes on for several years, with the individual not seeing any substantial profit or gain, as the earnings tend to be quite modest. More often, people earn directly through retail, and eventually they become disillusioned and decide to exit the business. And there's another scenario. When you start catching up to your mentor in terms of qualification, you become less profitable for them. They might dedicate less attention to you or create certain, let's say, artificial situations. They could employ methods that restrict you from making further progress. Unfortunately, a huge number of people have encountered a similar story, and people here at this stage do not usually make money. Let me show you right away, to make it clear in comparison, how it works at Coral Club. At Coral Club, there's only one step. The same 25%, apparently a little bit more, and the turnover required for this is only 500 points, not 3,000, not 5,000, not 10,000, 500 points. The ratio of a point to a dollar, 1 point equals $1.4 on average for our basics. Packs, what does one get by making this turnover? $125? From 500 points and about $220 from a turnover of 750 points, that is income with a premium. Now, imagine a person goes up this entire staircase, like in the first case where it took months or even years. However, in our situation, they achieve this in just a few days or months, let's assume, and immediately become a director, reaping their earnings. When a person sees an income of $200 or $300 within the first month, you must agree that this is a motivational boost to carry on. And here we see this huge difference. Now, I'd like to illustrate to you how the basic qualification, the director level specifically, will impact the overall development of our business. Currently, we can observe the general structure of any MLM industry business model. There's a leader, their organization, and what do we see here? Distributors, i.e. directors, who are at the beginning of our path. As a rule, it is 80% of all people who are in our organization. That is, they create the bulk of the turnover. Now imagine if that fulcrum, the junior distributor of the company, is not protected, as in the case we talked about earlier. The person doesn't earn good money, turnover 500 to 1,000 points. What does the leader do? He has to constantly motivate and retain these people. They come up with all kinds of promotions, gifts, bonuses, some kind of raffle, I don't know, surprises and so on. And the leader is constantly engaged in motivation. Why don't his people make money? When leaders from different MLM companies come to me, among others, they all came with the same request. They were making money, someone $1,000, someone else $2,000, another $5,000, but they would come and say, Alexander, we came to you because we want our people here to make money too. We are tired of the fact that we are endlessly motivating our team and our people are not making money. We go traveling, usually on our own. We get bonuses, we get checks, while knowing that our partners, are living on credit cards, or they're warehousing their product because they have to buy back qualifications. They're overloaded with these first qualifications and they have personal volume requirements. Remember, we talked about the sales strategy. That's typically a feature of these companies. We're tired of it. We want our people to make money. And that's the balance of the compensation plan that you and I talked about at the beginning of the compensation topic. The conditions for the junior distributors. It's a huge advantage for the distributors and the top leaders. Because the top leader feels good when his partners feel good. And accordingly, when your people at the bottom are making money, imagine how much easier it is for them to sell that result to the people around them. Most people coming into the MLM industry, yes, they want to earn $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, but this is later, and for beginners it is such, let's say, a distant figure, a distant benchmark. But when a person gets $200, $500 in the first month. Even without experience, let's imagine that you can visualize how others will follow and how all of this will influence his business. And now we move on to the leadership moments and conditions that are important directly for people who are focused on big profits in MLM business, called the deep bonus part. In many companies, the strategy looks quite similar. You first attain the basic qualification, meaning director level, and your task is to develop other directors. Now, here comes a crucial point, where you have to direct your focus. Most companies in the industry today have the following payouts. First generation 5%, from the second generation of directors 2%, 0.25, sometimes more, sometimes less. I'm just taking these average numbers. What this tells us is that most of the money is going to the first and second generation. So if you want to make $15,000. You need to have dozens of branches that will create turnover in the first line. But a very important point is that it is not profitable for you to develop depth, to grow leaders, because the deeper the network goes, the less you get paid. One of the leaders who came to my organization and who subsequently built a huge business, she had 14 branches of directors in her first line. Imagine that. And naturally, she kept her focus on building up the first lines all the time. But there was a point where she stepped away from the business for a few weeks. It was, I think, 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Her 5 branches did not close because she wasn't working with them or because she wasn't developing them, meaning these people kept going solely thanks to her motivation. And the next story is that a person on the one hand needs to develop the first lines, but on the other hand tries to hold on to the people he has. And as a rule here, a person has an income of $1,000 or $2,000 and hangs on to it for a very long period of time. Remember when we initially discussed the efforts required to maintain your network? Well, in this case, massive investments, both in terms of time and energy, are needed to sustain such a network. There are a few nuances as well. If a company is not diligent in these aspects, as I previously mentioned, our president possesses vast network experience. If companies do not have a repurchase system in place, one which basically allows a person to actually conveniently create conditions where these people will not exist within the network, and they can pull the leader into their first line. This destroys the company, creates chaos in relationships, and naturally leads to failure. At Coral Club, as you understand, naturally there is no such thing, and repurchasing is the worst sin that we have here. This is basically impossible, so for people who come to us, I always spend a lot of time on the company's ethics and values. And now we're going to see what Coral Club's compensation plan looks like. From the first generation 10%, from the second generation 8%, from the third 5%, from the fourth 5%, from the fifth 5%, from the sixth 5%. And at the leadership ranks, a commission percentage is added plus 5%. To each level and 5% to infinity. These percentages are variable, that is, the closer the person is in rank to you, these percentages can naturally disappear. But 10, 8, 5, 5, 5, 5 are fixed percentages, regardless of the qualifications of the person below you. And another thing is connected with this advantage. Recently, a leader came to my team who created turnover of about 100,000 points per month in his previous company. And his revenue was about $800. And this was related to the fact that the main leaders in her previous network were deep within her organization, and she practically didn't receive much from them. When she created a similar volume of business here within about 7 months, her income reached around $10,000, which is 10 times more for the same effort she was putting in before. And what amazed and surprised her the most was not only that she earned here, but her entire team did. And there are numerous stories like this within her team. So we're interested in finding a few people, 3 at first, and then increase to 60. 3 people and get them to $10,000. That's the goal I set for myself when I launch a new partner. We come together and an agreement is reached regarding mutual obligations. In other words, you undertake these tasks and our entire system is well thought out and delineated, having been followed by many people. On the other hand, I'm helping you with all of this. My job is to get you to 10,000 and help you build depth. We'll work with your first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation. I help run meetings, launch teams, organize Quick Start School, run events, and so on and so forth. Now imagine if the business model itself is not to endlessly chase signing up new people that we're going to leave, but to initially select 3 to 6 partners based on their values and goals, invest in these people for a year or two, bring them to an income of $3, $5, $10, $20,000. And then accordingly let them go, because this person is fully trained and he or she has an understanding of how to build their business. I have a question for you. How will this affect your relationship with him? Will this person be grateful to you for being so invested in him? Will you find joy and satisfaction in this business when not only you are earning money, but your partners are as well? When every month you receive messages that your partners are buying cars, purchasing apartments, going on trips alongside you, and your customers remain content and happy. Remember, I mentioned that customers are a pivotal part that constitutes the core group of individuals within our company. If you take my network, out of 37,000 members, 95%, even 96% are customers, and the rest are 1,600 partners who have business results with income from $200 and respectively already up to $20,000. And the key thing about all of this is that the money within our company lies deep, and turnover from the third generation on down, it can be 80% of your entire network, and when the business scales, it's all 90 or 95%. So the main money in the MLM industry will lie in the depths. So it is just that Coral Club's compensation plan allows you to earn as much as possible from there. At the same time, I want to explore another term which is called marginal profit. Many companies in the MLM industry exist at the expense of marginal profit. What does it mean? You have created turnover and you seem to be entitled to payments from this turnover, but you have not fulfilled some conditions, you have not signed a certain number of people this month, or you have a leader who is not in the first generation, or turnover has not grown, and so on and so forth. And you're limited in percentages, and you're limited in qualifications and in ranks. And the company is kind of underpaying you the money that it's supposed to pay you. At Coral Club, that marginal profit is minimal, and if you have created turnover, you receive it regardless of whether the leaders have overtaken you in ranks or not. Whether you have a leader who is second generation or third generation or first generation, it continues to affect your qualifications. I realize now what I've covered is more, well, let's just say the basics and the strategic differences of the compensation plan and the overall company. If you are interested in more detailed numbers, from what generation, how many, what are the conditions for qualification, what are the check payments, at what level, what are the checks, I recommend you to watch my video, which is called Compensation Plan. And that's where you'll understand all of this in more detail. My friends, now let's summarize. You have heard about the opportunities and the potential that you have here at Coral Club. Naturally, it will now depend directly on your goals and values, whether they align with what I've talked to you about today. Coral Club is a company that is focused on a long, happy life, has a time-tested reputation, proven results, values, and infrastructure. Additionally, there's a huge potential for growth with a product that you will learn how to build turnover with. What's more, it will take no more than a few weeks to learn and run a meeting and train your team on it. And when your people get their first results, you'll realize how much easier it is to work with it and how easy it will be to scale this business. Well, and the compensation plan that is as comfortable as possible. Comfortable to understand, it's very clear, it's very simple. People who come here, even without prior experience in the MLM industry, start earning, just like me and a vast number of my partners. Initially, we talk about making some extra cash, $200, $500, $1,000, $2,000, and then of course, it progresses to $5,000 and $10,000. Furthermore, When we talk about fast speeds and fast growth, there's usually an association with leadership companies. Now, this is probably the first time that I want to say, maybe for the first time, that in a consumer company that's product focused, it's possible to create rapid growth like that within my team, our team in particular. You've seen on the graph how turnover has grown tenfold in the last few years. When there are real precedents and stories where a person comes in with experience and creates an organization with a turnover that allows you to make $10,000 in a 6-month time frame. Those are absolutely real numbers, again, because he's making money from deep within the network. And of course, it's a support system. When you come to us, you get the whole support system from daily, weekly support to strategic directions to events that are lined up within the company and the team. And this will all help you scale and grow with us. Well, and now I recommend that you contact the people who gave you this information, get in touch with them personally, and then make a decision. Good luck.